Mozambique's central bank left its main lending rate unchanged at 9.5% yesterday. This despite the slow depreciation of the metical against the US dollar. Joining us now on the line for more is Octavio Mutemba. He's head of the economic strategy desk at Moza Banco. Thanks so much for joining us, Octavio, this morning. Let's go into that decision, unchanged at 9.5% for a third straight month. And we've had the central bank raising concerns about the impact the recent floods are expected to have on the economy. What did you make of the decision that came to the fore?
Well, thank you for having me on the line today. The central bank has made a decision to maintain the intervention rate unchanged. As you well said, the FPC is maintained at 9.5% and has been in that level since November of last year. In Mozambique, inflation this year has been rising. In January, we had the annual inflation of around 2.09%, and now in February, we have an annual inflation of around 4.33%. So that annual inflation in the only 2 months that we have had so far has been higher than last year's annual inflation as of December 2012. So I think that the strategy they are taking at the moment is to hold off the interest rates for as long as they can and try to see what is going to happen in the following months. They have to control for the depreciation of the metical. The metical has depreciated about 8% over last year, and this year it's gone from around 29.75% in December 2012 to a level of 30.68 at the end of February. So they have to control all these variables in the following months.
While they try and get a handle on all of those variables, Octavia, they've got to keep an eye on the growth scenario as well. So run us through that, because we've had the economy expanding 6.8% in the third quarter from a year earlier, and that according to the central bank. What's the growth outlook moving forward, given the fact that we've got the central bank for now adopting a pretty prudent monetary policy stance?
Exactly. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hold off as much as they can on the interest rate moves in order to drive credit to the economy, in order to drive the economic growth that we have seen. Last year, economic growth in Mozambique has gone up about 7.5%. These are the preliminary figures that we have had. And this year, economic growth is projected to grow by around 8%. Okay? So in order to maintain that level of growth in the economy, they need to leverage off the variables of monetary base of inflation over the following months. So in our view, what's going to happen is the central bank will try to maintain a control of the monetary base, okay, rather strongly than the interest rates. At the last Friday's meeting, the central bank decided to reduce the monetary base level to around 36 billion. At the moment, the monetary base is around 38 billion, and they have been trying to reduce that by issuing repos in the market quite frequently on a daily basis, basically, and also treasury bills. So that is the way that they found to control the level of monetary base in the economy, to control the level of inflation, because that is expected to go up, according to the central bank, to around 6.5% at the end of this year. Let me just give you a tip as well. There is something that I call the inflation trick. If you have the first 3 months of the year with an annual inflation or better, accumulated inflation of over 3%, then you should count with over 6% at the end of the year, because you're going to have high inflation about 1% each month from October to December on basically an historical basis level.
Yep. Having said all that you have, Octavia, what's your outlook then for the interest rate direction moving forward?
The interest rate direction, in my opinion, is going to rise. You have to understand that the floods in the south of Mozambique have created a little bit of an embarrassment in terms of the flow of products to Maputo and to other markets in Mozambique. So that will in itself increase the level of prices in the economy, and that has already been reflected in January and all the way to February. So we also believe that the government of Mozambique will also review its budget to take account of the flooding. So there's going to be a lot more money being pumped up in the economy in order to sustain the growth, in order to create employment and create jobs and to mitigate the damage that's been done. So I believe that in the first half of the year, you'll have the interest rates maintained at 9.5%. In the second half of the year, you will have an increase in interest rates around perhaps 11%.